Perfect. So today we're talking about virtual assistants. And what are we talking about? I'm going to be sharing with you how to leverage your time and the tools to use. I'm going to be showing you real life examples of how these tools are used not only to work with a virtual assistant, but also to work with real staff. And one thing I want to caution on is a few things actually. Don't hire a full time virtual assistant to do the things that you don't know how to do. A virtual assistant should be an extension of you, doing the things you know how to do, but are slowing you down, like the daily repetitive work. If you don't know how to do SEO, you don't need a full time virtual assistant. You need to look at things like that as if they're projects. So if you want to do some blogging, you would hire somebody on a contract work just to do that one particular thing, which is the blogging. You take those smaller projects and hire the right people who specialize in that topic. A full-time or part-time virtual assistant should be doing the things that you know how to train, teach, and inspire. It's better to go pay as you go versus keeping somebody busy and messing things up. A lot of real estate agents, even with a full-time person at their own office, if they have an administrative assistant, they tend to just throw a whole bunch of things at them that they may not be qualified to do, know what they're doing, and they spend so much time and wasted effort. So if you look at things like micro projects and you can piecemeal them out to the right people, it's actually a lot cheaper when you do it as a pay-as-you-go strategy than trying to hire somebody full-time to do everything. When it does make sense for you to hire full-time is when you have full-time worth of work that you're going to have people in-house doing something that you know how to train on. And what can they do? So what could you hire a virtual assistant, for example, or even a real assistant, an administrative assistant, to come in and work for you? Well, they could load your listings. They could be closing your files, preparing your monthly marketing like direct mail, doing your mass emails, classified ads, getting your print ads ready for submission every week, your social media postings, etc. They can be doing all your feature sheets, cleaning up your database, putting together your monthly marketing stats for promoting house values, for example, helping you with lead follow-up. Anything you can do from a computer, they can do. So here's an example. This is a call sign sheet that I have. It's a piece of paper, and when somebody calls me up on one of our listings, I can capture their name, phone number, email, their address, the source of where the business came from. I can make any notes about the conversation that we had, any MLS numbers that they want to book or have questions on. If they're buying, I can simply circle and check off the things that they're looking for, like this person's looking in the east for a 3-bedroom bungalow under $450,000 with a finished basement and a walkout kitchen. I have my qualifying questions up here so I can find out when they want to move by, if they're working with a realtor, if they're financed, that sort of thing. If they're selling, I can get all the information on the property that they're selling. And then down here, I have my activity log and my notes. So this is a simple piece of paper that I have, and I can easily have that conversation with the person. And then what I do is I take a picture of it and send it to my virtual assistant. And then they input all of that data. So in this case, the virtual assistant would add the contact record with all the contact's information. I instructed that they would have to book a showing, so they would book a showing on that property. They would set them up on a prospect match fitting this criteria. And then they would add all the qualifying questions that I had to their profile so that I have that in the future for my next call. And then they would help put together the local sales so that I have at least a snapshot in that area. So all I had to do is literally snap a picture of the piece of paper I took, and then when I get back to the office later on, there it is in my inbox, everything already done for me. That's just one way that you can use a virtual assistant. But there's so many other ways. In this case, it was adding calls and following up, setting up your new buyer alerts, open house registrations. When you guys do your open houses, you get people to fill in that piece of paper, and then come Monday, you might call a few of them, but then come the next week, you guys aren't doing anything with it. So what you can do is have your virtual assistant put together a plan for you to follow up with your open house registrations. If you're at networking events and you're collecting business cards, for example, what are you doing with those cards? I hope you're not throwing them away in a drawer and getting lost. You should be adding them to your database. And an easy way would just be to put up 20 of them on a desk and take a picture of all 20 and send that one photo, and then have your virtual assistant adding those to your database. Saving the contracts and client files. So if you're scanning documents that you need saved to a shared folder, for example, you can have your client sign all the paperwork, and then you can scan it. There's a lot of apps on your phone that allow you to scan documents, and you can scan it, put it to your virtual assistant, and then have them deal with it how you normally would back at the office, and now you don't have to. So with all this time that you're saving, I want to share a couple things. This is a piece of paper that I want to give you, and I call it the 4x4. It's 4 powerful hours a day, 4 days a week. And yes, I can speak louder. Yep, sorry. Let me turn this up. Okay, perfect. And so this 4x4, 4 hours a day, 4 days a week piece of paper, it really is just a kick in the pants. So what I like to do is I put a laundry list of all the things that I want to get done today. So I just list out everything I want to get done, and then I'll prioritize it 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then no matter what time of the day it is, so right after this webinar that we're on, it's going to be mid-afternoon for most of you. So when you're done this webinar, instead of looking at your time blocking and missing half the day and then thinking, well, the day's gone, I'm just going to go out for lunch, what you can do is I set an egg timer for 15 minutes. And during that 15 minutes, I only work on that one task. So say, for example, I have to catch up on my emails. I would put my emails here, and I don't do anything else for 15 minutes except for answering my emails and chipping away at the things that I keep putting off. The egg timer will go off, and then I do it for another 15. Egg timer goes off, I do it for another 15. And you keep doing that, and what happens is it slowly builds up the momentum you need to get things done. And then I build it in that on the 60th minute here, that I either exercise, do some art, meditate, or read, and I always tend to do the exercise. And then what that gives you is at least 45 minutes a day of exercise, broken up into 15-minute chunks. So it's a real easy way for you to do time blocking without actually blocking your time. So I'm going to give you that tool, because with a virtual assistant, what their ultimate goal is to take all of the tasks that are holding you back and slowing you down, and what you're going to find is you should get at least 2 hours a day of free time. And with that free time, you should be doing the dollar productive things like following up with your leads, prospecting, generating business. I'm also going to give you this Kickstart business plan. So it's going to give you a 90-day plan on growing your database and leveraging your database. Because with the virtual assistant, now you should be in the mode of either cleaning it up or building it, because the database and the CRM, contact management system, that you guys use really is the crutch of your business. And if you don't have one, you need one. So I'm going to give you this game plan right here that is going to help you with growing your database over time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the tools that I actually use to work with a virtual assistant. And before I get started on that, I just want you to read this book if you can. If you haven't, it's called The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss, or Tim Ferriss, who's an awesome guy. He has a really good podcast full of great knowledge and information. And I read this book years and years and years ago, and right after I read it, I went and got a virtual assistant. So I guess I did do it in 2009. Yeah, because I was flying to a conference, and I literally read this book, and then I landed at the conference, and it was a mastermind session, and the leaders in that group were all talking about using a virtual assistant at that time. It was really new. And I literally just finished reading the book, so I thought, wow, this is perfect timing. And once I got the virtual assistant, it totally was like freedom. I looked at it like I'm assigning homework, so I give them the different homework that I want them to do. So every day today, you know, when your day starts going on, you get little tasks that build up, and you didn't see them coming, and now you're working on them, but you didn't do the things that you should have been doing, like prospecting. Well, what I do now is I let those little things build up, and then I assign them to my virtual assistant, and then when I check in the next day, most of it's done. If there's any questions, we can deal with it, but at least the bulk of the work is done for me. Now, when you're working with a virtual assistant, you have to look at things like little miniature projects. Everything you do should be a little project. So I use this tool called Trello, Trello, and it's totally free. And in the notes, I'm going to give you an email with all these videos. I'm going to give you the notes to all these tools that I talk about. Well, Trello is a free tool that works on your iPad, it works on your iPhone, or smartphone, I should say, and computer. And it's project management. So each of these boards are different ways I manage things. This first board is my virtual assistant. So any tasks that I have her working on, I put on her board. When she's done with that, she literally will drag it off of hers and then move it over to this middle board that I call design finished but needs work or needs parts. And what that means to me is I have to check that for anything that has to be done. So when I check this file, if she still has to do some stuff, I'll put it back onto her board and instruct her on what to do next, or I'll put it on my board and close the file. So if I take a look at one of these, for example, let's open up this one here. It has all the notes that we have on that particular client. It has all the attachments, like the files. So picture if this was one of your listings. You would have it named as the listing. You could have all the information about the property and about the clients that you have. Down here in the attachments, you can attach video, you can attach photos, you can attach floor plans, any of the contracts that you signed. All of the attachments are now on this little board that you can move around from team member to team member. So if you had a virtual assistant that worked with your closing files, you could drag it off of your board, for example, and then put it onto their board, and then they'll do whatever the checklist says for them to do. And when I say checklist, so checklist this out. When I scroll down, you can see there's checklists here. So this one I'm still waiting for the video, but once we get it, we'll check that off, and then you can see now we're 100% complete. So you can totally track things that are missing and things that still need to get done. So you can customize this. You can make whatever checklist you have. If you have a buyer close checklist and you have a seller close checklist, then you can make those different checklists as a template. And now you can digitally see where people are at within the team, and you can assign people. So certain team members, so you can have your entire team have access to the boards, and you can assign certain people to particular projects. Trello, there's a whole bunch of programs out there. Basecamp is another one. They have a monthly fee, and for realtors out there, Trello is definitely the way to go because it's 100% free. It's a really big company. They have a gold program where you pay monthly, but you guys aren't going to need that. So you have a full working program that allows you to manage your projects, checklist, closing checklist, everything, and it's totally free. Now, one of the things is if you want something done right, you do it yourself. And that's usually why real estate agents and business professionals have such a hard time letting things go. Because when they let things go, they don't get them done right, then they have to fix it, and they might as well have done it themselves. Well, to get around that, I use this tool right here. It's called Jing, J-I-N-G, and it's by TechSmith, and it is a free download, totally free. So what Jing allows you to do is record your computer screen. So you can easily record your computer screen. So here, I'll record my computer screen here. This is Jing right here, this little sun. And when you download it, it allows you to capture a piece of your screen. So I'll capture this piece of the screen, and I'll hit record. It's counting down. And now it's recording everything that I'm looking at and doing. So it's recording my mouse, it's recording my voice. So I can instruct my virtual assistant on that particular project. So say, I want to stop that video, by the way. So stop the video, here's the video here, and I can hit this little button that says share via screencast. And instantly it uploads the video, and then it's going to give me a link. There's the link, uploaded to screencast. And in my Trello board, so for example, here I add a new card. I can literally paste that link right there. And on her board, she can click that. When she comes into work tonight, she's going to see that. She'll click on that link, and then she can watch the video of me explaining to her what I want done. Because you can type out the instructions, or you can assume that they know what they're doing. But if you just made a video recording showing them, okay, I want you to do a mass email to our database. So this is how we log in, this is the contact list that I want pulled, and this is the information I want sent. Now, mark that on your calendar because you're going to do that every month. Well, there you go. You visually just showed them step by step the tasks because you're going to have to train them anyways. It's not like when you get any staff, a real person or a virtual assistant, you always have to work with them one-on-one, showing them your system and what you want done. Well, that Jing tool allows you, That Jing tool allows you to record your computer screen, and it captures your voice and everything you're looking at. Even if I was recording my computer screen and I minimized my web browser and I opened up a Word document, it would have recorded my desktop and then the Word document that I have open. It records everything that I'm looking at. The other free tool that goes hand in hand with that is called Screencast. So you're going to want to get Jing first. You download Jing. After you do that, then you go to screencast.com and you register here. And you saw when I made that video, it allowed me to save the video, and I hit the little clip button and it copied it as a URL. That URL is actually being hosted on here automatically because I have a free account. So you can get a free account with them. Same thing, screencast.com is owned by TechSmith. And it's basically like a private YouTube for you, where you're going to host all of your videos and your training videos and your conversations. So those three tools alone are the crutch of how I work with a virtual assistant. I use the Trello mostly for our holding our documents for particular files on particular clients, but sometimes we have files that I need everybody to have access to, so I use cloud storage. So you don't want all the files on your computer because you have to have your computer turned on for them to have access to it. So what you want is to look at one of the cloud service providers that you feel the most comfortable with. Personally, I use the Microsoft version and I use the Google version. I like the Google version because it has their version of a word processor, and it's totally free, and your virtual assistant doesn't need the current version of Microsoft Office. You don't have to worry about any viruses because it's not a computer file being saved, it's in the cloud. So to me, working with a virtual assistant, especially if you don't know them and you have them working on Excel files and Word documents, you might want to consider the Google Drive tools because, in my opinion, it reduces the security threat with the viruses. Now, whether you're working with a real person or you're working with a virtual assistant, in this industry, you have how many passwords? 1 million. Yeah, and you don't know them all. Like on your computer, they automatically log in, but when you're working with somebody new, they're going to need access to that stuff. And are you going to just give somebody you don't know access to your Gmail and your YouTube and your Google AdWords and your Facebook and everything else? I really hope not, because you never know about that person. Or maybe that person saves everything on their computer and then a friend or family of theirs comes over and starts using their computer. You never know what could happen. So I use this tool. It's called LastPass. And LastPass allows you to create one username and password for all of your websites. So all of the websites that you get access to, it will automatically create a really complex username and password. Well, it creates a really unique password, I should say. And that removes that threat of you guys using the same username and password for every account. You really should be using a different password, and it really should be pretty complicated. So LastPass complicates that, but it makes it easy because it gives you one username and password. You can see right up here at the top, this little star. That means I'm logged into LastPass, so if I go to any website, LastPass will automatically log in because I'm logged in up here. If I wasn't logged in, it wouldn't log in for me. Now, how does that help with you and your virtual assistant? Well, you can create a team. So I can have myself, and then I can have a team member have access to all of my usernames and passwords, but they don't see them. This person will get one username and password on their computer, and if they were to ever leave the company, I can change their username and password, and then they don't have access to all my stuff anymore. And I can individually, so this shows me a list of all my accounts that I have. I can just click this little person, 2 people head here, and share access to whatever programs I want. So I don't have to give them access to everything. I can only give them access to the particulars, the things that I need them to have access to. So this is a really cool tool, especially in today's world with this many usernames and passwords. I always had the fear of, well, now I have one password. I had a real concern of that, but it's actually really, really safe. And it's free for you to use, but if you do it as a group environment where you want to assign people usernames and passwords, you'll have to do it, and I think it's like 25 bucks a person a year. So still very, very affordable. A lot less money than it would cost to have somebody mess you over, that's for sure. Now, how do you find work? Let's say you got. Oh, you still can't hear me. Well, this is being recorded, so you'll be able to hear that video for sure. I apologize, but I'm going to keep going because the video is being recorded. And so Upwork used to be called Odesk, and Odesk is where you find your virtual assistants. Well, Odesk and Upwork is where I find my virtual assistants. So it's a great place because you can literally find people for project work, like a one-on-one, or you can find person more long-term where you hire them part-time or full-time or just for a few hours a week type of thing. And what's awesome about it is that you pay Upwork. So you don't pay the freelancer directly, you pay Upwork. And Upwork takes a percentage out of their pay. So there really is no cost to you to be using the service. And the benefit is it's a write-off because it's just a piece of marketing. You're using this company and you can write it off as marketing or whatever you have them doing, you can write it off as. And you don't have to go through all the paperwork of staffing, having local staff and all the government paperwork that you'd have to do with taxes and all that. It's just a write-off. So you get the write-off and you can search for people. So let's take a look here. So here's one contractor that I hired, and he agreed to do one particular project for $5. But I have him do it over and over and over and over and over again. So in that case it cost 10 because he did it twice. So say, for example, you create a marketing kit. When you get a brand new listing, you could create a marketing kit where these are the feature sheets I want, these are the social media ads that I want, these are the other type of marketing materials that I want, and you can have all your marketing pre-done for you at a flat rate. As soon as you get a new listing, you'll reconnect with your freelancer, send them the photos that your virtual tour photographer took, and then they'll have the template based on their software. So they'll probably have Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator, and they'll be able to do that. So you can fire things off piecemeal, and it's very, very cost effective. Or you can search for somebody. So let me show you how I would search for a person. So I'm going to go to Upwork, and I'm going to click on freelancers, and then I'm going to search. Well, there is millions of people on Upwork that are applying for jobs. So how do you narrow it down to find the top people? Well, I'm going to click on more options, and I'm going to just narrow it down. So right now, it's saying a million people here. I'm going to say they have to have at least billed 100 hours, meaning they have experience. I want in the Philippines, or whatever country or area you choose. The reason I choose the Philippines is because they work well with Americans. It's very Americanized in that area. The labor force is very cost effective, and it's a win-win. So in particular areas, their minimum wage is really, really low at a daily rate, and what you pay them hourly greatly exceeds their minimum wage. So I like the Philippines for that reason. They're English speaking, and it's a very Christian-based area, which could be a big thing for you or not, I don't know. But anyways, in the Philippines, it's just a really good labor pool that isn't as entrepreneurial as the other areas. So in other parts of the world, you could still find very affordable staffing, but they're also very entrepreneurial on their own end. So that could be a threat to you. And I'm not saying the Philippines aren't entrepreneurial. They obviously are, and they're always creating and evolving. And they just have a very trusting workforce. So I like the Philippines, so I'm going to search for somebody in the Philippines. Now I'm going to say English. English level, let's say native. Hourly rate, let's say $10 and below, for example, just to see. And what I did was I narrowed it down from the millions and millions and millions of people down to a handful of people that I can reach out to that obviously they say they speak good English. They've had a lot of hours billed and they'll have ratings, so I can see any past history that they've done. And it's just a really good way for you to find the talent. Say you need somebody that to do something particular, like design your advertising. Well, maybe a tool that they need to do that would be Photoshop. Adobe Photoshop. So you just type in what you're looking for and it narrows it down even more. So this shows you the type of people, like I hired a top-notch, top-of-the-line virtual assistant, and this is exactly how I found them. If you're looking for somebody to do cold calling for you, for example, if in your area they can, not all areas can, because they have to be licensed, but in some areas you can have people cold calling. And if that's the case for you, then you could hire somebody to be doing this for you and inviting them to get update on the local house values. And then all you have to do is reply to the people that raise their hand. So Upwork is a great place for you to find the talent, for sure. And if you want to find another option for really cheap and one-piece meal, like business cards or flyers or something like that, Fiverr is pretty good, Fiverr, and it's usually about $5 a project. So you can see here's $5, $5, $5. And what I did was I typed in flyers and posters. So it shows me all the people that can make flyers and posters. So you could contact one of these freelancers and say, can you make a marketing kit? I need feature sheets made up, I need a Facebook banner made up, I need Instagram images made up, and I want them to be a template. And every time I get a new listing, I will give you the images and then you can stitch it all together and we'll do it at a flat rate of $5 or $10 or whatever, and work out a win-win between the two of you. And then whenever you get a new listing, you can just fire off the photos to them and they'll do the marketing for you and then give it back to you so that you now can leverage that. Now, when you're communicating with a freelancer, you're definitely going to have to get Skype. So Skype.com, they don't usually have a cell phone to be texting. And if that's the case, what's awesome about Skype is that it actually works on your mobile device. So you can get the app put onto your computer, you can get the app put onto your phone, and you use that to instant chat. So you can chat with them remotely by just like you would text your friend or family. You can text them, but you're using Skype to do it, and it's free for them, and it's free for you. And then what's also cool about it is you can call them, and you can do a video call as well. So that's a great way for doing the interview process, just to make sure that you guys can connect and that they actually can, you have to be able to communicate. If they don't speak your language, or you have a hard time understanding them, or if they have a hard time understanding you, you have to know that this is a person that you can work with. And Skype is a great way for you to do your communicating. Now, whenever you pay a virtual assistant or a freelancer that you connect with online, you really 99% of the time should be doing it through the companies, so Fiverr and Upwork for sure. However, sometimes you'll come across somebody like a friend or family and you have to pay them. Well, another way of doing that is with PayPal. So you should have a PayPal account as a safety net. So for example, my freelancers, at least my full-time ones, sometimes they need software and technology, and I send them the money to get those tools. Now I'm not going to send them the money through Fiverr and or Upwork. I'm going to send them the money through PayPal because they need the money, and they're not doing any work for that. It's not work money for them, it's money for the job. It's so that they can buy the tools that they need. Like they may need a new computer, or they may need a camera or a microphone, and that's not going to come out of their pay. So I'm going to basically just give them an advance, or not even an advance, I'm just going to give them the money that they need so that they can get the tools that they have. So one thing I want to share with you guys is that we have this program where it's $69 a week, and you get a virtual assistant for 2 hours a day. So for 10 hours a week, you pay $69 a week, and you have them now working with you every week, the same person every week during the same times, and what they're doing is helping you leverage what you should be doing. You should be doing your prospecting, following up, working with buyers and sellers. Anything that is slowing you down, you can give to them as homework every week or every day. You can just leave it off on your Trello board, and then the next day you come in and most of it will be done. They'll have questions and you just go back and forth, but they're going to do the grunt of the work that is slowing you down, and it's only $69 a week if interested in that. Or you can find the people yourself on Upwork, and you can find the people on Fiverr as well. So feel free to contact me. All my contact information is going to be in my email, but my cell number is 905-903-5442. And you can also email me directly from our website here, so you can just go to brokeragenation.com. Thank you.